Hello and welcome, this is Melskiner, and we're back with some more BattleTech. In the last video, I had an interesting battle because it was the first time I faced Assault class mechs. And I'm actually quite curious what we're going to face at these difficulty levels, as I am just now starting to experience 3 skull, give or take, difficulty missions. Now there are a little bit of fluctuation in difficulty with each mission, but with that being said, the last scenario we did was a little bit of a special case in that we were facing veteran mech warriors. And that's kind of, I think, the way that those particular missions are set up. You're facing heavier opponents, but they're always going to be damaged. So in that case, we were facing assault mechs for the first time, but they had half armor. So it made them a little easier to deal with. So let's take a look at what contracts we have. So battle, recovery, battle. And we have 3 skulls, 3 skulls, 3.5 skulls. And we also have a travel mission, which takes us to Ryan's Fate. So that's a system we haven't been to yet. And that's another battle. Well, this one down here and the travel mission are both in the desert, so I'm hesitant to take that. Let's take a look at the description here. So a family associated with the Oregon Directorate has been threatening military action against their restoration neighbors on Mector. Neither of us has any legal claim in this system, but as our allied nobles have requested help and protection, we're willing to intervene. We need a deniable force to step in and destroy the Directorate threat. Alright, I don't know if there's going to be reinforcements with this mission. It doesn't really sound like a mission that I've taken before. This seems a little unique. Usually speaking, from my experience, you can tell from the description of the mission whether or not it's going to be a mission where you're facing reinforcements. So in the example of the scenario we just did, which was the veteran pilots, you never have reinforcements in that case. Now, why am I worried about reinforcements? Well, in these battle missions, I have seen, both through experience in this campaign and an experience in the campaigns I've done off camera, with these battle missions, there's a chance that you're going to have reinforcements in the battle. And what that means is that you'll double the number of opponents that you're supposed to be facing. So in this case, let's say we're supposed to face a lance. I don't actually know that because it doesn't say. But let's say we're supposed to face a lance. That one lance would be set up for the difficulty that this is. So it'd be a 3 skull difficulty. So if you were just facing that one lance, you know, it's appropriate for the difficulty that you're doing. But with the reinforcement, it doubles the number of opponents, but they're both at that level. They're both at the level of the difficulty. So it literally doubles the difficulty of that mission, and it's an insane difficulty spike. And although I have proved that I can succeed in that environment, I'm not really sure, especially as I don't know what kind of mechs we're going to face. If we're facing assault mechs on the norm, then having double that would be pretty crazy for the mech loadout we have now. So I don't know with this one if I'm going to face reinforcements. Now this one here, selling a grudge. Within the last 3 months, the Oregon Directorate has struck our facilities personnel. Now this one is very familiar. I believe I've read this description before, but more or less they're attacking and we need to stop a Directorate lance from attacking Directorate stuff, more or less. This one is, I think, a little bit more likely, as I have faced this kind of thing, I believe, before. I think this one has a higher chance of having reinforcements out of the 2, and it is in the desert. So as much as this one pays more, I think this is the one I least want to take, because the risk that there's going to be reinforcements and I'm in the desert makes me not really want to do it. So it's really down between this and this. So let's read the recovery mission. We need you to recover our operatives from inside a Directorate research facility. They'll be carrying highly sensitive scientific materials, which must be returned to us. These materials are biological nature and must not be tampered with. Opening or tampering with the materials will be considered a breach of contract. Now, this sounds really familiar, too. Now, I must admit, I do have this campaign and another one, so sometimes it's hard to remember which I've done recorded or not, but I'm fairly certain we've done this mission before, at least the description. We're in Tundra, so heat will be better, but the difficulty is higher. This one concerns me a little less, though, because even if there is reinforcements in a mission like this, they won't be at the same time. Because the problem with the battle missions, when you have quote-unquote reinforcements, it really just deploys both lances at the same time. Whereas in a mission like this, if you have reinforcements, they're legitimately reinforcements. They're coming from off the map after the fact. So usually you're dealing with one lance, then another one, for example. So a little easier to deal with because it's not 2-to-1 odds. You might have the attrition of failing one lance than another, but it's a little bit more manageable at the very least. But again, higher difficulty here. And not that great on pay. Oh, another thing I'll point out with the reinforcements, and the reason I really don't want to take those kind of missions, is you don't get rewarded anymore for doing a mission like that. If you have reinforcements, it doubles the number of opponents, but you have no reward for going through the slog out, drag out fight you'd have to get through to defeat them. There's no extra reward. You get the reward that you'd get at whatever the difficulty level would pay you. So it's really, unless you set up for a lot of salvage, it really sucks as a mission. So that's just my opinion, and that's why I'm hesitant to take these battle missions a lot of the times. Before we do that, though, I do want to do some administrative things, and I just remembered that we did just do a priority mission, so it's possible we have new lines of dialogue. Yeah, as a matter of fact, this looks new here. Got any opinions on this BattleTech hunt the Restoration is sending us on? In general, I'd say that BattleTech is great if you can find it, but hunting for it is usually a waste of time. That isn't our decision to make, though. This is Lady Arano's job, and it's the Arano Restoration ship. We're just going along for the ride. I have to say, though, it is a little weird that this Castle Nautilus is on Artru. When I left that system, I intended never to go back. I certainly didn't think I'd ever be putting people on the surface. Not on purpose, anyway. And not for a damn treasure hunt. But that's what we're doing, isn't it? Digging for buried and, if you buy into Samire's ghost stories, possibly cursed treasure. Using a treasure map that we found on a pirate ship. It'd almost be funny if the stakes weren't so damned high. Okay, well that's probably the only new thing from him, so makes sense we had new dialogue with him because that was actually character relevant for him because that's where he's from. Let's talk to him because for sure we're going to have the state of the war to talk to him about. It's in a state of flux. If we find what we're looking for on Artru, the entire face of the war could change. There are no guarantees, of course, but I'm optimistic. To Maya's eyes, this is one step removed from prophecy. Her father's stories and predictions come to life. Now, I must admit, it seems like the Restoration is banking a lot on things that haven't happened, that may happen, but there's no guarantee. Like, if we show up here, and even if this thing does exist, but there's nothing there, we're banking a lot on something being there. Just like they're banking a lot on getting reinforcements and people joining up and things like that. It's like this whole house of cards could come tumbling down if the slightest breeze happens, it seems like. And it looks like that breeze is coming too. So I have a feeling we're going to have a reversal at some point. But that's, again, that's my paranoid assumption. Okay, so strange that she's interested in the Star League, this SLDF, brutalized periphery. Okay, I mean, that doesn't make really honestly any sense. You don't have to care about the Star League. All we care about is the technology. They had better technology than the Periphery. So yes, we want their stuff. What do you think we're going to find on Artru? Guess I'll see what happens when we get there. All right, we'll say this. They probably would just leave this as an option, but we'll say this. What do you think we'll find? Knowing them, a pot of gold. Honestly, I can't say. Perhaps we'll find the armory full of battle mechs that Dr. Murad alluded to, or functional memory core. I believe that was Yang that alluded to that, but all right. Full of Star League era secrets and technology. Or maybe we'll find nothing at all. One thing I can tell you for certain, there isn't a government in the Periphery, or the Inner Sphere for that matter, that wouldn't strip Artru bare to claim Castle Nautilus. It's a damn lucky thing we're getting there first. Now, the problem, though, is if there's a memory core there, then we're going to have to deal with Comstar. Now, I didn't really talk about Comstar the last time it was brought up, but it's kind of, because I didn't go over the little tooltip, it's kind of hard to explain, but think of the BattleTech universe like this is the Dark Ages, and Comstar is like the Catholic Church. In that they're the last bastion of the collection of the knowledge of the past. So just like the Catholic Church kept writing alive and things like that, Comstar is keeping alive some of the technology of the old Star League, but they're not really sharing it. And they're actively, covertly working to prevent everyone in this universe, really, from reacquiring Star League technology, because Comstar wants this whole system to collapse. They want chaos. So, because they think by everything collapsing, the Star League can rise back from the ashes. That's what they want anyway. I'm sure I'm getting some of this wrong because I'm just pulling this from what bit of memory I have. But Comstar is very dangerous. Now, at this point in time, nobody knew Comstar was like this because they were very good at being covert, but that's definitely an issue that we may fall into, is if there is something really valuable here, even if there isn't, but Comstar gets word of it, we may have to fight Comstar, and we really don't want to do that because that would be bad. All right, well, anyway, we'll just say this because it's a dialogue choice. That's true. The Star League was abusive and cruel to our people, and the Amaris Civil War was a direct result. Camilla knows all of this as well as anyone, as did her father. Lady Rano isn't trying to revive the Star League's culture. She doesn't blindly worship their decadence and callousness, not as those in the Inner Sphere do. When she was a child, perhaps, but not anymore. What she's after is their technology, the tools they use to oppress us, once upon a time. And she will turn those tools to our purpose for the good of the Reach. I mean, again, if you think of the historical parallel, so in the Succession period, we're in the Dark Ages, the Star League would have been akin to the Roman Empire, so an advanced civilization that existed before, and we have kind of descended into quote-unquote chaos because of all the fighting and the dissolution of, organized civilization to a certain extent. So, all the fighting during the Succession Wars, it's very similar. If you want to just make those historical parallels, to get a little bit of an understanding of what's going on, you can very much do that. Okay, I guess we'll see what happens when we get there. Let's talk about something else. All right, well, that's him.
Until next time.
I'm sure Samira has something to say, as she had opinions about this kind of stuff. Okay, what do you think about the plan to raid Castle Nautilus? Oh, okay, she even says, well, I guess we're going hunting for BattleTech. Hooray! Oh, I think I made my feelings on the matter pretty clear. It's a bad idea. Now, scratch that. It's a shockingly bad idea. We should be focusing on the war against the Directorate. Instead, we're taking a massive diversion and heading to the middle of the Directorate space, where we'll dig for buried treasure that might or might not kill us. Look, I know that everybody's really excited about the prospect of finding Star League Defense Force battle mechs, and I do get what I do get what that would mean. But seriously, Commander, we're betting an awful lot on a hunch, don't you think? Okay, doesn't matter what I think. It isn't my decision to make. There's even a chance that we'll find BattleTech at Castle Nautilus. I'm all for checking it out. And, again, I'm of the opinion, I think I've kind of raised this before, where I'm like, a lot of the problem with the Succession Wars is a lot of infrastructure was destroyed. And I feel like some of the missions we do, we're doing that. We're destroying infrastructure. And really what we want to happen is we want things to be rebuilt, because we want the recovery that is meant to come. And, in my heart, this kind of search, there's a chance we could restore and kind of get back some of that former glory. So for me, it seems worth it, even if we all die, because of just how much destruction has happened. It'd be nice. But anyway, let's go ahead and say this. So if there's even a chance we'll find BattleTech at Castle Nautilus, I am for checking it out. That's that then, isn't it? You and Lady Arano have me outranked and outnumbered. We're going to Artru, and whether I like it or not, I get that. And I'll do my job, same as I always do. But I reserve the right to say I told you so if this mission blows up in our faces. But I will reiterate that to get the Helm Memory Core was not a fun task for the Mercenary group to do. I don't remember which Mercenary group did it, but they took very heavy casualties, and it was not good for them. But that's because they had to deal with Comstar's, you know, covert workings and you know, the kind of thing where people are killed for this kind of thing. So it's very dangerous for sure. All right, talk to you later.
Good day, Commander.
All right, so we have Yang.
Need something?
Okay, so it looks like he has something new to say as well. Well, I guess we're going after BattleTech. You know, when I rolled out of bed this morning, this wasn't where I saw my day going. Okay, what do you think of the plan to raid the castle? It's gonna be interesting. Never thought I'd be going grave robbing, but the life of Mercenary is full of surprises. I do have to say, the prospect of getting to work on SLDF battle mechs is intriguing as hell. I'm doing my best not to salivate just talking about it. I've never actually seen an SLDF mech before, mind you, but I've heard stories. I imagine every mech tech has had a dream or two about tinkering with the Gauss rifle. And if Castle Nautilus is as well stocked as Doc Murad says it might be, I don't want to jinx it. Suffice it to say that I'm intrigued. One thing that also occurred to me, and I don't think I voiced, is the decryption machine that we got was from Comstar. A Comstar agent had it. So, it's possible Comstar knows about this. Again, they're very good at being covert and manipulating things, and it's quite possible they know what we know because we use their machine. It could have, I don't know, maybe sent them a message. I'm being very paranoid, I know, but when you're dealing with Comstar, you have to be paranoid.
Talk to you later.
Okay, last one we have.
What's on your mind?
Commander Gunner, what's up? Okay. Mention other black boxes on the Argo. What else do you think we might find on this ship? Beats me, probably nothing with overt value. Anything that even remotely resembled a weapon or tool would have been salvaged by the pirates a long time ago. But as we've already seen, there are many different forms of treasure, and some are more clearly hidden than others. It's an interesting position to be in. We've still got a lot of wasted space on this ship. Rooms full of old trash that could be cleared out and retrofitted. At least I think it's trash. But what if it isn't? What if in cleaning out one of those rooms I wind up scrapping something that could help us down the road? Obviously, we can't treat the Argo like a museum piece. She isn't one. But it makes me wonder all the same. Okay.
Don't be a stranger, Commander.
Oh, very interesting. Another thing I'll point out, and I don't know if I've ever really talked about this, but a lot of the reason that things have regressed is not just so much because things can't be produced anymore. We can't produce Gauss rifles. We can't produce some of these tech things that they're mentioning because the industry's been destroyed. But it's more than that. It's also the knowledge is gone. The knowledge to produce it's gone, but the knowledge to maintain it is gone. Mech techs that know how to work on a Gauss rifle are long gone. And Comstar has ensured that. Comstar has worked to fight the, I guess, reclaiming of that knowledge or trying taking out promising scientists that may have knowledge of these things, just again to prevent us from recovering. They'd like us to descend in chaos. They like us to tear ourselves apart so that the Star League can be born from its ashes, as they believe. So that's kind of the situation, is even if we found things, would we know how to use it? Would the mech tech know how to maintain it? Even if it works now, it might not be able to keep working because eventually it will wear out. And that's why this tech doesn't really exist anymore. It's not because we can't produce it anymore. It's also because we can't maintain it either. So if there was a mech that had that kind of system beforehand, well, as wear and tear of using it has gone by, those systems have been replaced because they can't be maintained anymore. But all right, let's go ahead and move on. That's enough yammering about the universe and the story behind it. All right, let's go to the mech warriors and level up if we need to. So we have my pilot, which now has 9,000 experience. So let's see what this does. All right, it looks like we're just getting a melee hit chance. Now we do punch things from time to time. I really am curious, though, if we ever to get more max evasion. Probably on the last level. I'm going to do it, but definitely I think that at this point there could be other things that we're getting that would help us out. Like, for example, better gunnery skill. Tactics, we don't really necessarily need it with this pilot, so I haven't been emphasizing it. I'm going to go ahead and take this. It's going to take quite a while to get 8,100 experience, at least a handful of battles to do so. So we'll confirm. I mean, at this stage we're getting... I think we got 2,800 experience last time, so 3 or 4 battles of that, and we'll be ready to level that up, I guess. All right, moving on, we have Glitch. Glitch has Gut skill, which doesn't do a whole lot for her. What about Tactic skill? Okay, gets her more indirect fire penalty. I like that. Reduction, I should say. Okay, confirm.
Training confirmed, Commander.
Moving on to Decker. Decker has enough to do Guts, which doesn't do anything other than health, or Gunnery skill. We'll take the Gunnery skill. I don't know if anything here is really going to help him too much. If it just continues to be called shot bonuses and indirect fire penalties and minimum range reductions, well, then he doesn't benefit from that because he's just using lasers at the moment. There may come a time where I end up having to upgrade him to a medium mech, and this skill would still make him operate like a light mech, and if we see a progression where the enemy is going heavier and heavier and they don't have light mechs anymore, then that would be perfectly acceptable to do. So, we'll see. But I like having that initiative edge at the moment. Alright, confirm that change.
Complete.
Standing by.
And now Behemoth. Well, in her case, she can afford piloting skill, and that makes a lot of sense for her because she oftentimes is punching it out. So, yeah, let's do that. If we could increase... Like, that kind of thing would probably help as well with the dragon using the weaponry it does. But I think at the current moment, the piloting skill is going to help us the most. And we'll do tactics maybe later.
Training complete.
With her, piloting skill is going to help her no matter what mech she's in. The tactic skill helps her for the mech she's currently in, but if we put her in a different mech and, you know, it's set up differently, then that won't matter so much. All right, well, that's all of that. Do we want to make any changes to things? One change I think I'm going to make is the Jenner. We have a backup Jenner, I think. Yeah. I want to set it up to be the same as the other one that I have. And I don't remember exactly how I set up armor, so there might be some slight differences with the two, but I don't think there's ever really a situation where this SRM4 is going to justify itself over the armor that we have. And if this mech gets messed up and we want to run the other Jenner, I'd rather have it be set up the same. We also have the Firestarter as a backup, but it's starting to the point where I think the Firestarter's lack of durability is starting to be a little bit of a liability. So, yeah, let's do that, just so I don't forget to do so. I have thought about maybe even some alternative loadouts that would run more heat efficient, like, for example, emphasizing the SRMs and removing some medium lasers in response to that, but we wouldn't be up-armoring like we do with our current loadout, which I think helps us substantially. So, all right, let's just go through this and up-armor it. So I'm going to do 2 ticks for everything, and then we'll go from there. That maxes that out. Six and 2 on the legs. All right, where are we at this point? So we have 3 tons to work with, and now we have slightly less than 2. So, all right. Well, let's do one more tick across the board. Of course, not the head, because the head has been done. But it's interesting that the center torso and the rear has less armor than the sides, so I'm going to rectify that. Okay. We still have about a ton left. I'll put one more tick into the legs, so we can at least take a PPC hit there. We'll do up to 40 in the arms. And then I think the rest should just be on the torso section. So, do we max out the rear? I mean, there is a possibility we get hit in the rear because we do move around a lot. Let's do one tick on all those things. Then I'll do one in the rear. What the heck? We'll max that out. Then I'll do one more tick there. And then 1, 2, 3. Okay. So I only have enough to do one more tick of armor somewhere. So I'll do it in the center torso, I guess. That makes this a little bit more survivable. All right. There we go. Again, I don't know if the armor setup is the same as on the other one, but it's just a slightly different up-armoring flavor. All right, let's confirm that. And it's going to take 1 day, which is not long at all. Okay. So
Right. I'll get it in the schedule.
we did quite a bit of reading there and everything. I think I'm going to go ahead and put a cut here in the video. I realize that most of it was just going through the story stuff, but I think that stuff is important. So I hope you guys have enjoyed. This is Mouse Gunner, signing out.